Good day to all. Welcome to Extreme Recap. Earth is governed by military organizations in the 23rd century. To be a legitimate resident and get close enough to fundamental freedoms like democratic and having a family, individuals should enlist in the military close to this time. People likewise accomplish space travel, and in the long run they find an insectoid types of outsider they call bugs from the planet of Klendathu. Military organizations continue to release video advertisements to promote the opportunity to fight for humanity's future, as humans and bugs have been constantly at war for territories ever since. These recordings frequently remember showing the troopers for the center of fight, pursuing the bugs with all their weaponry and abilities. Yet, when bugs figured out how to strike the troopers back, the recording is removed in a school class on the planet. Teacher Rasher is showing his understudies world history and the significance of the military. However, Rico, a student, is more interested in sending Carmen, his girlfriend, amusing drawings. At the point when miscreant Sack poses Rico an inquiry, he figures out how to answer accurately, yet Rask's demonstration actually reprimands him for just rehashing the text as opposed to showing genuine comprehension of it. Rico and Carmen check their math results after class. Carmen scores are perfect since she's been really hitting the books to be acknowledged into the Armada Institute, which she's frantic to join. When Rico checks his scores, he finds that he's just got 35%. In addition, Rico is teased by his friend Carl by making the score appear larger on the screen in front of everyone. Carl then inquires about Carmen's situation and reminds him that Dizzy is in love with him. However, Rico maintains that he only desires Carmen. A short time later, they go to another class where they are shown how to open up a bug outsider and distinguish every one of its organs. Rico passes it without any problems. However, Carmen winds up feeling wiped out in the early evening. Carl, a gifted psychic, tests Rico's psychic abilities. Carl has even been able to direct messages into the brain of his pet, causing it to do whatever he wants. He also tries to teach Rico. Be that as it may, Rico basically doesn't have the expertise and falls flat at speculating Carl's cards. Then again, Rico's a generally excellent American football player. Furthermore, this evening, there's a game. During the match, Rico observes Xander, a competitor, flirting with Carmen. As a result, he plays more violently to ensure their victory. He is scolded by the captain of the team for being distracted, but Rico's jealousy strengthens his resolve. And after stealing Xander's ball, he figures out how to dominate the match. Not having any desire to lose Carmen to another person, Rico chooses to enlist in the military for her. When he educates his folks, they're extremely disheartened and attempt to get him over with a thrilling excursion outing to space, leaving him unsure later at the school dance. Rico goes searching for Carmen just to view as her, conversing with Xander feeling desirous. Carmen is taken away by Rico for a dance. Additionally, Rico informs her that the following day at the registration office, he and she will join the military. Rico pursues the portable infantry. Carmen joins the pilot unit, and Carl gets into the insight division. The man accepting their administrative work is missing a large portion of his appendages. However, this does not deter them from going their separate ways. The three of them swear that at home they will always be friends. Rico gets into a contention with his folks over his decision for what's to come. Eventually, his dad removes him from his cash and Rico goes out conveying only the thing he's right now wearing. A short time later at the takeoff station, Rico and Carmen bid farewell, promising that they will constantly compose letters to one another. In the meantime, the tacticals advertisements get increasingly savage, demonstrating to the general public the harm that the bugs are causing to their brave soldiers. Later at the instructional course, the beginners meet their educator, Sergeant Zim. Needing to test the capacities of the volunteers, Zim inquires as to whether anybody needs to attempt to bring him down. One enroll volunteers and makes an honest effort to assault, however Jim effectively overwhelms him and gets his arm broken. At that point, Unsteady shows up, saying she mentioned to get moved to Zim's unit to accompany Rico. She is also put to the test by Zim. And keeping in mind that he overwhelms Tipsy effectively too, essentially Carmen has a couple of additional moves and is permitted to remain. Later, during lunch, Rico gets down on a select name days for cutting the line. Ace is impressed by Rico's resistance, and they end up becoming friends for the remainder of the day. The enlisted people are put through an extraordinary instructional class that tests every one of their abilities when now is the right time to toss blades. Expert whines about the movement, and Zim rebuffs him by tossing a blade at his hand end. The recruits discuss their reasons for joining the service later in the showers. Be that as it may, when it's Rico's move, he would rather not discuss it. Discombobulated lets everybody know that Rico joins the help due to a lady. Rico is also teased for it by the entire team. After that, while everyone is teasing him in the background, Rico records a video to send a carbon copy. Carmen then happily reads the message before returning to her fellow recruits' flight training. She will fly a bus interestingly, and her abilities are speedy and smooth, intriguing her teachers. Carmen lands the shuttle in a massive spacecraft that will transport them to the bug planet. What's more, there she finds Xander, who has turned into an associate educator. She will steer the tremendous spaceship interestingly. And it's getting close to the station. However, Carmen quickly removes them due to her quick reflexes. Rico, on the other hand, is doing well by utilizing their understanding of American football. Putting down every soldier in their path, Rico and Dizzy were able to win the capture of the flag exercise for their team by demonstrating exceptional shooting skills and flawless teamwork. Seeing that Rico has potential, Zim advances him as a crew chief. At night, Rico is heartbroken when she receives a message from Carmen stating that she wants to end their relationship in order to pursue a full-time career in the aviation industry. Rico is presently exceptionally miserable and impulsive. Rico's team participates in a fighting simulation the following day, using live ammunition. From the outset, it works out positively, and they rapidly destroy their adversary. Yet, one of Rico's partners has a protective cap issue, and Rico takes it off all the while. One of the volunteers coincidentally shoots the colleague in the head and kills him. Later, the enroll promptly leaves out of culpability. Furthermore, Rico is feeling better of his crew order obligation, which is moved to Ace after the gathering. Rico is attached up outside and given something to nibble on while he's given an excruciating whipping so that each one could see. At the same time, the captain of the spaceship wants Carmen and Xander to officially form a team and join the crew. The two are glad to hang out talking about strategies. A sudden shift in gravitational pull also interrupts them just as they are about to kiss. After checking, they found that a space rock from the quarantine zone is drawing nearer. Carmen assumes control over the controls and figures out how to utilize her abilities to sidestep the space rock with wonderful crisis avoidances. Rico's resigned from the service, despite the fact that a portion of the ship was still lost in the process. Back to the infantry, unsteady attempts to work him out of it. However, since Carmen ended their relationship, he has no reason to remain. After that, Rico calls his parents to apologize and inform them that he will return, but signal interference suddenly cuts off their call. A devastating update is shown on every screen at the base by the newscast. Millions of people, including Rico's parents, have perished in their hometown as a result of the asteroid that the bugs sent. The incident leads the federal council to make the decision to completely eradicate bugs from Clendathu. And Rico decides to remain with a family seeking vengeance. Because he just signed off a few minutes ago, the chief executive doesn't want to let him return to work. However, Zim tears Rico's abdication letter to imagine it won't ever exist. In the meantime, a commercial from the Tactical Knowledge Division tells the best way to kill the bugs appropriately. As per Carl, who is presently one of the main specialists focusing on the bugs, nerve stem can at long last kill it for good. This promotion incorporates the Armada fight station Ticonderoga, where a live transmission shows the planning of the versatile infantry to go after Clendathu Rico. Furthermore, the others get talked with, and they are anxious to kill the bugs. The attack involves the infantry and pilot units working together. Carmen's presence also surprises Rico. They attempt to discuss their relationship, yet Carmen demands that she gave what's all for them. At that point, when Xander arrives, he immediately recognizes Carmen's conflict and his desire for maturity. Rico attempts to leave, however abruptly Xander discusses the versatile infantry. Enraged Rico hops on Xander and begins a horrendous battle, however they scarcely get to trade a couple of hits before they are come by their companions a while later. Additionally, a group goes to get a tattoo to symbolize their objective of eliminating bugs. After some time has passed, a group of shuttles takes them all to Clendathu. Notwithstanding, even prior to arriving in the world. While a number of shuttles are struck and begin exploding all around them, a light plasma is already launching attacks on the soldiers. Carmen and Xander make every effort to evade the attacks, but they are still hit when the soldiers who survived the initial aerial attacks land on the planet and launch their counterattack immediately. Very close, they see that the light plasmas are coming from the greater bugs. By nuking these massive bugs, they begin their assault. Then they all charge in a full-scale battle among people and bugs starts. Be that as it may, the bugs have a lot greater numbers and immediately encompass them, killing individuals left and right, seeing their confidants severely killed by the bugs. As the bugs follow them and continue to kill anyone who is too slow, the mobile infantry begins to retreat. The reporter who is covering the raid is also taken in an Eden. Yet, since the cameraman won't quit recording, a couple of fighters need to cut in and salvage him by shooting the beast. Tragically, another bug exploits this and assaults them unsuspecting, killing them all quite rapidly. Rico blows up and doesn't quit shooting until he kills the bug. Be that as it may, before it kicks the bucket, the bug figures out how to twisted Rico in his leg, and he drops. The following morning, the Sky Marshal leaves because of his carelessness to gather appropriate intel prior to sending off the new Sky Marshal sets out her new procedure for managing the bugs, saying they need to grasp them. A military scientist suggests that the bug society needs a hive mind leadership team. Carmen and the crew, on the other hand, made it through the dark space by flying around in a spaceship that is barely hanging on. When they get back to the station, they find the lists of the dead, and they are shocked to see Rico on one of them. But this is false information. Rico really may do and is presently right now being treated in a clinical office at the base. It turns out he was safeguarded by Rask, who has enlisted in the military, as well, and turned into a lieutenant of a different unit. Unsteady and expert stay with Rico and bother him for being recorded as dead reasoning. It makes me laugh. At the point when Rico at last recuperates, he and his companions joined Rask. Zach's unit called Roughnecks, who are entrusted with wiping out the bugs on each planet. The following day, the Roughnecks proceed with their mission around Klendathu. After quickly clearing the area by bombing the bugs from the air, they begin looking for bug holes to nuke. There are as yet a couple of bugs around, yet they're speedy to shoot them to death since the troopers dwarf. At the point when they nuke an especially huge passage tanker, a massive bug rises from the ground and fires from its antenna, making everybody begin taking off. Rico stays and gets on top of the bug, shooting an opening into its skin prior to dropping a projectile on the injury. Then he bounces away as the projectile detonates, eliminating the monster bug. Everybody supports Rico's triumph, and Rasher advances Rico as his corporal. Consequently, Rico makes Tipsy a crew chief. Sometime thereafter, the Roughnecks have a festival. Rico finally gives in and lets Dizzy dance with him. He invites her to his room, where they start having a good time. When Rico receives an alert from Rasps about the recently received distress call, their fun is cut short. In any case, basically the lieutenant allows them 20 minutes to prepare. So the 2 or 3 completes their exercises. In the first place, the following day, the unit goes out to Planet P, where the misery call came from. There, the sergeant is out of nowhere removed by a flying bug. So Rasith needs to shoot him to end his affliction. He then, at that point, advises his unit to do likewise for him. Rico is promoted to sergeant in the event of his capture, and Raskas directs him to lead the team when they reach the Basin P, where they find nothing but mutilated and dead bodies everywhere. The bugs used to break into the base through a hole in the middle. Additionally, they make a horrifying discovery. All bodies have a vacant opening in their minds, suggesting that a bug sucked the mind of fighters. They suddenly hear something coming from a tool chest. When they open it, they find a scared general who tells them that before sucking the soldiers' brains out, the bug controlled them to call the central command, implying that the trouble call is a snare. At that point, a huge number of bugs begin going after them. With their weapons and the base's cannons, the Roughnecks defeat the bugs that attempt to scale their walls. Sadly, another sort of flying bug joins the battle, making it harder for people to protect themselves. With his shooting abilities, Rico figures out how to bring down one of them, yet it falls right on top of the general, coincidentally killing him in the battle. Rask orders Rico to call the central command for help, and keeping in mind that Rico requests extraction, more bugs continue to come. It's inevitable before they get invaded. So when Rico informs Great Act that help is coming, the lieutenant arranges the unit to refocus while the bugs at long last arrived at the highest point of the walls. Additionally, the soldiers fired their final shots. Carmen's carrier shows up to get them. Under them, a tanker suddenly appears and rips off the rascal's legs. So Rico should satisfy his commitment and, leniently, kill Ras. By throwing a grenade into the tanker's mouth, Dizzy kills it quickly. However, she is diverted and gets wounded by another bug. Consequently, while a brand new tanker approaches and burns down a wall, Rico and Ace, furious, eliminate the bug and assist Dizzy in entering the ship. At that point, unfortunately, Dizzy succumbs to her wounds and passes away in the cockpit as the ship departs the planet. Rico approaches Xander and Carmen and orders the barrage of Planet P. Carmen, incredibly glad that Rico's alive. However, Rico is depressed due to the loss of numerous soldiers. His solicitation is additionally denied on the grounds that the Sky Marshal has various designs for P. Minutes after the fact, Rico and the others offer their appreciation to bleary-eyed and discharge her coffin in space soon after Carl, who is currently a colonel, shows up and reunites with his companions. He is sorry for sending the Roughnecks unit on P and makes sense of that they should have been certain that there is a mind bug in the world, regardless of whether it cost many lives. Presently, they have affirmed intel. They'll have the option to set a legitimate mission. After that, Rico is elevated by Carl to the position of new Roughnecks leader and lieutenant. Rico meets the new Roughnecks when they land back on Planet P. The bug starts shooting light plasmas into space as Rico welcomes them. As of now, Carmen boat is hit straightforwardly and torn into equal parts, making the skipper request them to leave the boat and empty en route to the salvage deck. A door seal catches the captain after he trips. The captain tells Carmen to save herself despite her efforts to assist her. Carmen and Xander take off and figured out how to get away from through a unit. In any case, sadly, the unit bursts into flames during section and collides with a mountain cave where they get encircled by bugs. After Carmen cautions Rico of their area, she and Xander start to fend off the foe, however it doesn't take some time before the bugs cripple both of them. Rico orders his troops to continue their search for the brain bug through the cave tunnels after hearing their scream over the radio. In the meantime, it becomes clear that Carmen and Xander have not yet been killed by the bugs. They're cut, yet additionally being saved as detainees for the Cerebrum. Buck, while the unit's going down the cavern, Rico unexpectedly gets a hunch that Carmen's still alive. As a result, he directs his team to carry on with the mission while Ace and Sugar join him in looking for Carmen. Back to Carmen and Xander. They're frightened by the Goliath Cerebrum bug that at long last shows itself. Right before the nasty bug uses its fang to suck Xander's brain, Xander gives Carmen a knife. Carmen uses the knife to remove the brain when it's her turn. Bugs snarl. Carmen was about to be punished by a bug, but the brain bug stops it because Rico, Ace and Sugar are coming with a nook in hand. Ace informs the team that the brain bug is moving in their direction as Carmen slowly approaches Rico. When the mind bug's gone, different bugs begin going after, injuring Sugar in the battle. After that, he puts himself at risk by starting the bomb. So Rico, Carmen and Pro can get away. All of the bugs are killed by the explosion, which also seals the tunnel. At the point when the triplet at last escapes the cavern, they see every one of the troopers celebrating. It's then, at that point, uncovered that the mind bug has been caught by Zim and is being hauled out in a net. Carl approaches and guesses what it very well may be thinking, uncovering that the mind bug is apprehensive. As everybody cheers in triumph, Rico inquires as to whether he's the one that clairvoyantly let him know that Carmen was alive, to which Carl says it's ordered. Carmen is made fleet captain following the battle, and Rico and Ace become well-known soldiers. The tactical purposes them and the caught bug to promote their associations and welcome more individuals to join the versatile infantry prepared for the impending difficulties. Turn on notifications, please subscribe for more videos like this, and like the channel to support it. Thank you very much for watching.